Now it's my great honor to introduce to you our speaker today. We have Dennis O'Donnell with us, who always brings inspirational talk and something for us to think about through the week. And I've known Dennis for so long, and he always has something fun and inspirational, very positive, very peaceful energy. So we're very blessed. Dennis O'Donnell has been playing hide and seek with spirit as long as he can remember. He's explored spirit's varied expression through many traditions: Native spirituality, Pentecostal Christianity, yogic sciences, devotional singing and prayer, 12-step spirituality, nature, contemplation, and has found his favorite home in the work and expression of spirit through the religion of spiritualism. Let's welcome warmly, please, Dennis O'Donnell.
All right, what a joy to be here. This place, it answers all your questions for you. You just kind of suspend your own thoughts and show up. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. All right. When I do a talk, my head spins, and I come up with like 5 different talks, and trying to figure out which one it's supposed to be. It's hard. So these songs help me dial right in. I'm going to give you a quick. I've been in town here for about 35 years or so, and I came from Washington, and I lived out in the mountains, and we used to get cabin fever. In the winters, in the snow, in the cold, and you sit around, and your only job in life was to just keep the fire going with the firewood. And well, this particular year, I don't know why, I'm living up in the mountains. It's colder up there, especially in the mornings. The weather, for some reason, I've never seen a year like this where there were almost like 3 solid weeks where it rained, which is also the excuse why you can't go to work when it's raining. So I really haven't worked at all since last year. I haven't done much exercise. I haven't done much of anything except sit at home and kind of meditate a lot. I haven't even been doing much yoga, actual physical yoga, but I've been doing a lot of chanting and mantra work and a lot of meditating and getting lost in the third eye and how might we call it, just journeying through the infinite internal expanse. Not always a great place to be for very long. So I began to get a little bit, and then trying to turn off the music, all that stuff. So Spirit's been giving me little reminders, little downloads, kind of telling me what to do. One of them being an interest I've developed in looking into and really examining forest bathing. Japanese are forest bathing. Getting into nature, kind of like get back to nature. The Hound of Heaven. So where I live, there's a woman who comes once a week, has for about 6 months now, and does 1 yoga class a week. Well, she's now coming twice a week. It's almost like the universe is forcing me, leading me by the hand, bringing people to get up then and move your body a little bit. The green grass is now out, and so there's a lot of, I live on 300 acres of beautiful nature that requires, beautiful nature takes a lot of work and a lot of activity, and it's time to get out there and do it. These songs, it's like, I used to, when I started to sing both those songs, it took me right back to the spring and the summer when we would play basketball on Long Island. Lots of basketball, lots of jumping, lots of playing, good stuff. So I'm going to let that kind of be. The cabin fever is behind me now. Springtime is here. My message and the talk is all about trusting nature and listening to the call of nature. And it's certainly calling me, and I hope it's calling you. Now, before I begin, I just want to ask you all, can you see that? It's supposed to be a tree with a man with a little rake, and the leaves are falling, and it's almost like a Zen koan, sort of. The question in the caption, is man bringing order to nature, or is nature bringing order to man? And think about that for a moment. I'll come back and ask you about that in a minute. All right. Yeah. You know, I might have mentioned this in the past too. My father was a pilot, a captain for Eastern Airlines for 30 years. And near the end of his career, he told me that the only time he ever had any fun was when something went wrong. Which is not what you want your captain to say. You don't want to hear that from your pilot. But I kind of feel like that right now, a little bit, like all these thoughts are swimming around. It's like, the beautiful thing about that is, when things go wrong, or like when you're getting ready to do a stage show, it doesn't come together until the curtain rises. Then it comes together. It gives God the opportunity to do for you when problems come and get you out of the way. So, all right. It's a joy to be here, especially with spiritualists, on the threshold of St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's and spiritualism goes together so well. For many, the holidays about parades and about reading milkshakes and things. But it's a much deeper invitation. It's a time and invitation for corny jokes, really awful corny jokes. So why should you never iron a 4-leaf clover?
Why?
Somebody knows? No? Because you don't want to press your luck.
That's cute.
So, let me go to the meat of the serious stuff. As spiritualists, we do know a thing or two about thin places, liminal spaces. The moments where the veil between this world and the spirit world feels very thin and the ability for communication is enhanced. And the Irish have known about and sought after and revered these thin spaces for forever. In Celtic Christianity, it resonates well with us spiritualists. We never saw nature as something separate from the divine. It wasn't about escaping the world to find God. It was about realizing that this world right here is the direct manifestation of God. So let me give you a riddle. I am not seen, I am felt. I am not spoken, but I am heard. I have no color, yet I fill the world with color. What am I? The breath of life, spirit. So today we're going to explore how spirit manifests and is revealed in nature with a particular focus to the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and air. these are not just inanimate matter, but windows into the divine, which viewed through the lens of our Celtic ancestors and the religion of spiritualism, are, some might argue, the best scripture of truth and the best liminal place for spirit to work with us. So let's start with the earth. In the old tradition, the earth isn't just dirt, it is the sacred ground. It's the womb of existence. It represents stability and strength. Think about a walk in the woods when you feel the damp, soft, moss beneath your feet. You aren't just walking on soil, you are feeling the living, breathing reality of creation. A Celtic Christian might look at a mountain and see it not just as a rock, but as an altar. The Celtic perspective invites us to touch the ground with reverence. It teaches us patience. You cannot rush an oak tree. You cannot rush spiritual growth. In fact, the best spiritual growth really does take time to grow. The slow growing oak, the slow development of your spiritual awareness, that's the real stuff. When we feel anxious or disconnected, the earth, the physical reality of our existence, grounds us back into the presence of the divine, which is holding us right here and right now. And one of my messages, be here now, get grounded. I'm not grounding enough. I've been out here all winter long, out here. Okay. Next is water. If you've ever stood by the ocean or walked beside a running stream, you know that water is never still. Water is the element of emotion, intuition, and purification. The Celts loved to pray thin place prayers, often called breastplate prayers, to bless their daily lives. They saw water as a way the Spirit washes away our burdens, and it's a quickening force. There's a great story of a monk who was asked why he spent so much time just staring at a river. He said, I am listening to the song of the river. It tells me that my mistakes are just pebbles in the water, and the river of God's love is strong enough to move them to the sea. It's a wonderful reminder for us spiritualists. We know that our lives are in a state of constant flow, that water reminds us to adapt, to flow around obstacles, and to trust that we are being guided by sacred flow. And of course, we've had some good rain this year, so the waterfall where I live is flowing pretty good right now. And another message for Spirit, not only did the egret return, but there's a little baby, young first-year egret came with him, comes out. And there's a special. I missed my egret for a while. Okay. All right. Are you ready for another riddle? I can consume, but I have no mouth. I can roar, but I have no voice. I can brighten, but I have no eyes. What am I? Fire. I am fire. Fire is perhaps the most dramatic element. In the Celtic spirituality, it is the element of transformation, passion, and most importantly, the divine spark. At festivals like Beltane, the Celts would light huge bonfires to cleanse the community and to invite the energy of the sun into our lives, or their lives. They understood that fire is not just destructive, it is purifying. It transforms old wood into light and warmth. It clears away the old, makes a nice, new, clean whiteboard for the new painting. For us, the inner fire, our passions, our creativity, our spiritual zeal, is the divine working through us. It burns away our fears and our illusions. As we celebrate St. Patrick, we remember the breastplate prayer, a prayer that calls on the power of fire, the lightning, the sun to protect us. And finally, there's air. Air is the element of the mind, communication and freedom. It is the breath of life. Pneuma, P-N-E-U-M-A, like pneumonia. Only this is a happy pneuma. Pneuma in Greek, or anima in Latin, the very spirit itself. The Celtic monks often talked about listening to the wind. They believed that inspiration and wisdom come from the unseen realms, carried on the breeze. It is the intangible connection between our inner world and the outer world. You know, the true luck of the Irish is the ability to breathe in the divine air and exhale a prayer. It is realizing that the breath that fills your lungs right now is the same breath that moved over the waters at the beginning of creation. So, make sure I got everything here. Let me go back to this thing. So now, since I gave you all the answers to the questions on the test, which one is it?
Second one.
Yeah, bottom.
Both.
Well, it is kind of truly both, really, when you get down to it. Nature allows us to kind of make believe we're kind of driving the ship sometimes and cleaning it up. And that's nature's blessing to us, along with bringing order and direction and serenity, peace, promise, reminding us of the patterns and the cycles in life and the blessings, like these songs did. Now, in conclusion to this little talk, I still got a couple minutes? Okay. Earlier I made mention to a prayer, or a poem, or an observation, perhaps. I'm not sure. St. Patrick wrote it, said it. He says, I arise today through the strength of heaven, the light of the sun, the splendor of fire, the speed of lightning, swiftness of the wind, depth of the sea, stability of the earth, firmness of rock. See, this was a man who really trusted nature. He knew nature. He knew his strength and his being, not just in nature, as the creation, the creator. He really trusted nature, really trusted it. And I just want to mention, what got me really thinking about this a lot too is watching the cycles and the patterns in life. And you know, everything kind of goes around, and not just all the happy butterflies and rainbows. Sometimes some of the less attractive things come back. And you know, spirit utilizes the earth plane for our spiritual growth. And we really are challenged to really learn our lessons well. And, you know, the same lessons and the same situations that the earth plane can kind of set up to help us confront the lessons we need to learn, they kind of cycle back and forth. Sometimes it's almost like a pendulum. And I like to think sometimes I get over, you know, through a rough time, I get over here and I learn my lesson and I don't ever have to look back. You know? The earth plane kind of has us cycle back sometimes. But the spiritual growth that's going to allow us to ultimately, permanently step away from some of the earth plane lessons and progress to another planet, another classroom in God's spiritual school. Those lessons are our blessing, as uncomfortable as they might sometimes be. But trusting in God and trusting in nature, knowing that nature indeed is the mirror of God, the revelation of God, it's our best teacher of spiritual truths. So, nature is bringing order and advancement to man. And each of us individually. Thank you.